right, Jessica Salas, welcome. Welcome to Left Out Loud. Such a pleasure to have
Thank
you here
you.
today. I appreciate you joining us, taking the time. I know you're busy. So many candidates right now are just extraordinarily busy.
Yeah, it's 8 days until the primary, and
Yeah.
I'm actually I do a lot of this by myself. I don't have a
Mhm.
campaign manager, so I'm actually posting something right now.
Oh, so you're running for Congress in Oregon's third district.
Correct.
For myself and for the audience, what that don't know Oregon that well, what is the third district? Where is that located? What does it consist
It's
of?
it consists of what you would imagine Portland to be.
Okay.
So it would be all east side Portland on the
Mhm.
east side of the river of the Willamette, North Portland all the way down to Selwood, but a central east side, like a perfect square is cut out. So I
Okay.
don't have the central east side of Portland, goes all the way into Gresham, all the way up to Hood River, down to Mount Hood, Village, Damascus, Happy Valley, and Brentwood, Darlington. So it's a
Okay.
giant chunk, a giant
Wow.
chunk.
Yeah, it sounds huge. Um, so I want to start off just kind of talking about your backstory a little bit. I always love reading people's bios. I thought yours was particularly um, informative and vulnerable. I really felt like I got a chance to get to know you better. And you talked about sort of growing up in difficult family circumstances. There was challenges within the family, financial hardship. And feel free, as it's whatever you're comfortable sharing on here, right? You can
Oh,
expand on that if you choose to. But
I'm a huge open book.
oh, good, good, good. Me too. But my question is, you know, having kind of gone through all of that and sort of being forced, as a lot of us are when we are in difficult circumstances like that, to grow up quickly and become self-sufficient. Do you think those hardships impact the way that you will govern? And do you think there's an advantage to people that have experienced that type of hardship in a governing role?
I do. I think it influences a lot of who I am today. Um, you can either let a lot of the challenges that you face either break you or let it make you. And it took me a while to get to where I am, and a lot of self reflecting,
Yeah.
um, and forgiving people that I
Mhm.
never thought I would forgive. And uh, I think once you take any of these situations that I've been through, which is honestly probably too many for one person, but it
Yeah.
I think it's shaped my view of where people come from and how they got there and why they're still in the situations that they're in. Or I'm going to take that obviously with me to Congress,
Hmm.
and let it influence the way that I will govern.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the things that I've been through um, could have been avoided if we had like better programs for addiction or
Hmm.
mental health care, or if people, I you can call lines for like if there's suicide helplines or rather than like domestic violence as well.
Yeah.
And the people who experience that and who are the ones putting those people through those experiences have the option to call those helplines,
Hmm.
right? To get to talk them through it. But if we just had a better mental health system and medical system, a lot of these things could be avoided. And I think that's what I'm bringing with me to Congress if
Makes
I when I get
sense.
to
Yes,
Congress.
that's right. When you get there, and that makes total sense. Yep.
Hi, I'm Seth. Nice to meet you. And thank you so
Hi.
much for coming on the program. Really appreciate your time. Going on your website, you're very thorough, but you have a lot of topics. But I noticed that AI is actually on two of those topics, and so obviously we know that AI is coming, whether we like it or not. But obviously, it's something that we have to rein in. And so, as it is something that concerns you as part of your platform, how would you like to see the United States take this next step as far as, putting up some guardrails for AI, not only for us, but for our kids?
Yeah, I think that also ties into my dopamine tax thing as well.
I wanted
But
to talk to you about that too, because that was cool. I was like, what is a dopamine tax? Tell people about that. Yeah.
yeah, well, dopamine tax is essentially keeping people who create social media um, held accountable for um, people's mental healths and their lifestyles and whatnot, because it affects a lot of people in different ways. It personally has affected me. All you see is good, 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 and what everybody is constantly doing.
Right.
And I compared myself a lot to people doing this and got really depressed over it. So you're
Mhm.
just fully forcing yourself with all of this dopamine constantly, constantly, constantly. And it causes so many things to your brain that nobody has any control over, not even yourself. And so I think we should keep the companies responsible for these things, just like prescription drugs. Like
Yeah.
it's essentially a drug, and
Yeah.
we are all addicted to it. But with AI, I believe it is unfortunately inevitable. I believe we have no choice, but we do have data centers now, and we need a better way to regulate those and create better resources for them in order to function and not put it on us as a people with our bills and our homes, which is the planet.
Hmm.
um,
Mhm.
yeah, pretty much just reining it in like crazy. I guess like you just adopted a dog. Now you have to train it new tricks and potty train it and whatnot. Except you just got to go full force with it out the bat, because if they don't know it now, they're never going to know it.
Mhm.
Um, and these companies really need a lot of regulation in order to function, for us to live as a society and continue to grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I think Oregon, from my perspective, and maybe I'm wrong, and you can tell me. Obviously, you're living there. I think of them as having a pretty strong independent streak politically as voters. Um, so how are you connecting with voters that are independent minded and maybe at this point in time are just feeling sick of both political parties? I have a feeling you probably run into that where you live quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
I The way that I approach these people, which it's mostly the younger crowd as well.
Yeah.
Um, my approach to a lot of these things is I shouldn't be the one. I shouldn't run this campaign as like a typical what you would think as a campaign to be.
Yeah.
I'm going in a completely different direction, and I get a lot of unsolicited advice on what I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I've never done this before. I don't come from this world, so I'm going to
Right.
approach it with a different mindset. Um, so when I reach these people, no matter the spectrum of what they're on, I just sit there and I listen with them. And literally, the only thing all of us really want is to be heard and seen. And especially in this day and age with social media, we have all, I believe, like I was just talking about this. We all have very individualistic selves where we all think that we are special, I
Mm-hmm.
guess you could say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, so it's created a pretty big narcissistic society. and um, but even then, your voice is still so drowned out, and you're basically like swimming against the current and
Yeah.
trying to get your voice heard. So what I do is I go to them. I don't go, I yeah, people knock on doors, people call people cold call, but a lot of the time no one's going to answer the door. I don't like answering my own door,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like answering a phone number that I don't even know, rather
Mm-hmm.
than a text message, you know?
Right.
So I'll go to bars, strip clubs, um, I'll go to weed shops and I'll just drop off zines.
Oh,
So I have little zines that tell you all about who I am and like
okay.
why I'm running for Congress, essentially. And
Oh,
when you
that's
open it
brilliant.
up completely,
And you
it
call them
shows you how big the
you
district
call them zines? Is that like short for magazines, I
zines.
guess?
Yeah.
Yes. And then it
Huh.
shows the whole district when you open it up completely. So these are things that, one, a lot of people don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, I think it stands out
Yeah.
and people are very interested. Um, but I've sat with people who are like, oh, on the back, it says register as a Democrat by April 28th. So this is an old one. But they're like, I don't want to. And I go,
Yeah.
understandable. Here's the thing. It's a closed primary. And if you want anything, if you want somebody new, you have to register as a Democrat. And you know what else? When I win, we can have a deregistration party. And everyone's like, let's go. I'm all right, let's go.
Yeah, and so I imagine that's a great point. Probably another challenge in Oregon is if you have all of these independent voters and they're not registered for a party, they can't participate in the primary. And so typically is the turnout pretty low in Oregon when it comes to primaries?
I've been looking at the past primaries and general elections, and yeah, they're fairly low.
Yeah.
I'd say between 800,000 to um, like what is it, a million?
Uh-huh.
But after that, doesn't really get much higher than that.
Okay.
But I'm seeing every day they update it for us for the Democrats of how many people turn in their ballots, and right now we're at like 600,000 and
Oh,
it's
great.
8 days still left. So I think
Okay.
everyone is seeing where we're going and it's
Mhm.
a very desperate time and everyone's actually paying attention that now we're getting people to vote,
That's
if not
wonderful.
early, but hi.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
it's really cool
if
to
they're not
see.
registered, I mean, it's all a moot point, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are understanding that too. I had to explain a lot about what closed primaries are. And my earlier literature wasn't like this. It was just regular political literature, like postcards and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't feel like me. But I did write like on there that it's a closed primary. You have to be registered as a Democrat if you want your voice to be heard because
Yeah.
it's only me, it's the incumbent, and that's it. There's not even an independent
Oh, you're
running.
kidding.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a Republican, but he came in out of nowhere and he doesn't have a website or anything up. So
Okay.
Dang, okay. Well, that's I mean that's unique as
Very.
far as like is the people that we've interviewed so far. I mean, that is a
Mm-hmm.
very unique circumstance. So, I mean, people need to know about that. People need to
yeah.
know about that. And so, one thing I wanted to ask you about, with being a progressive, obviously we are super anti-PAC, super PAC spending, Citizens United, one of the worst things to happen uh, to this country. But something really caught my eye on your website. It says for every dollar that Congress spends to study policy. Corporate lobbyists spend $34 to that dollar to control or kill it. And that blew my mind. Like, and obviously I knew that it's a huge problem, but putting it in that, perspective, they're spending 34 times what Congress is doing to try to create policy to help our lives. And the corporations are going, "Oh no, we're gonna spend so that never sees the light of day." And
hmm
so talk about that a little bit more as far as, the corporations and their interference in creating policy that helps Americans.
Well, they don't, but it's only to benefit them. What I did recently was kind of go down a rabbit hole, which was creating two websites. It was a website against my incumbent, and then the other one is whopaysmyrep.com. And
Right.
I basically built a whole website that goes back to the API, calls back to the API of the FEC website, and then I downloaded all of their information for this election, for this primary 2025 to 2024. And 2026, my
Yep.
bad. And I put it in my own database. So it calls back to that database. You can see where folks get their money from, the trail. So like you can see it like APAC to who is it? Progressive Voters of America or something. I forgot what it's called. And then to the candidate. And everywhere how it doesn't touch. And it made me feel so disgusting to just see the whole thing laid out and watch how all of these corporations hold such a strong hand in our government.
Mm-hmm.
For it, it actually blew me away, and then I went down another rabbit hole, and then my whole team was like, you really need to get out of this rabbit hole. It was like, my bad.
Yeah.
But
I get that. I mean, I'm the same way. Like when you start to kind of consume this information, something you didn't really know before, it's like I need to know everything.
everything, you know,
Yes.
everything.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. And it's just crazy that not even just them spending that money. On top of that, the candidates or incumbents still have to raise money
Yeah.
in order for them to pay their staff. So it's like, oh, what's the easiest way to do it? Let's side with this lobbyist, or like let's side with this corporation. They'll
Mm-hmm.
give us like the max amount of money and just continue to go. And it's all of it is so corrupt.
Yeah.
It all needs to just burn down and start over again.
I agree. I agree. I mean, we really realistically we need people in Congress saying, okay, we have to somehow get this corporate influence out of our government. And I don't know that it'll happen at the federal level, but, states have the ability to say, to pass legislation and say, listen, we don't allow corporate money in our state,
Mhm.
right? We don't allow our politics to be bought or influenced. And I hope to see more and more of that happening. I think Hawaii just passed that no corporate money is allowed in their politics. It was just a few days ago. So
Love to see it.
you'd love to see it. I just, if the federal government can't do it, we can certainly put pressure on our local politicians to do it, right?
Right. And
Absolutely.
because right now, right now is the time. I mean, we're seeing how much influence foreign entities have over our elections.
Mhm.
Israel is in the spotlight for that right now, and rightfully so. Corporations are affecting us every day in terms of the amount of the tax breaks that they were just able to acquire. I mean, Apple, Microsoft. Google all received like $8 billion in tax cuts. And when you think about where that money could be going, it just blows your mind. But it's just our listeners to understand it's not just about the things that I just mentioned. It's they're literally going in and killing policy that Congress is trying to write. People talk about, oh, this Congress is the laziest Congress. This is that they put out the least legislation. Well, these companies are literally spending $34 to every dollar to make sure that they don't write
Yeah,
policy. And
that's
that's and
right.
that and people need to understand that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
There's another thing I like to do with folks for them to fully understand when I say like to tax billionaires out of existence. It's what do you both know what 1 million minutes to a year is?
No.
It's about 1.9 years,
Okay.
right? 1 billion minutes to a year, 1,902.
Right.
It's they could be giving away so much money every day and still be a billionaire.
And I think that's such a great point, Jessica, because I think, it's hard to conceptualize what a billion is. A lot of people just think of it as more than a million, but after a million, what is it really? And it's so much more than a million. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I've seen so many different sort of metaphors or analogies of, how many lifetimes it would take to spend $1 billion. And it's so excessive. It's so gross and unnecessary.
unnecessary. It makes
Yeah.
me wonder why people are so attached to money, but I guess they
Yeah.
are. With money comes power, so I
Hmm.
guess
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just being the individualistic narcissistic self trying to be special in a
Exactly.
way.
It's a sense
Yeah.
of like omnipotence, I guess. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just gross. It's like dystopian and weird to
Yes.
hoard that much money and not do anything positive with it. In fact, most billionaires do exact opposite with all of that wealth. Um,
They
so
spend it to
you have
influence our government.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So you have a broad platform. I took a look at your platform and your policies. Kind of a lot of what I would expect from a progressive candidate. You talk about healthcare and education and housing and affordability. If, let's say, right now, I kind of wave a magic wand and I say, okay, you can go to Congress, but you can only take one of your issues with you. That's the only one you get. Which one would you pick?
That's so hard.
I know.
My my dog is punching me. What do you mean? Um, I think the most important, yeah, no, I would say tax the billionaires out of existence
Yeah. Yeah.
because with that comes
Prosperity
a
for
solution.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, solution to homelessness, solution to healthcare, solution to mental health care, solution to childcare. It would,
Okay.
Crazy
yeah,
infrastructure, travel infrastructure,
Mhm.
plane.
yeah.
I mean, we're talking about trains, man. Like China
Mhm.
literally just spent like a couple $1 billion and built this opulent, unbelievable train station with like 17 tracks and a hotel and a mall in there for absolutely no reason, just because they're unbelievable when it comes to that kind of stuff. And you just think to yourself, like, man, we build NFL football stadiums for more money, for more
For more
money.
money.
So where's the money going? There's so much money in
We
America, and we just and so many people are just like, yeah, well, I'm okay with making $55,000 a year. I think that's fine. And those billionaires probably earned it. They probably were working with the sweat of their brow, like, and you're
They
just like,
think people
man,
because they work hard, the billionaires work hard, but that's not it
Right.
at all. They're making the
Mm-mm.
sweat up. They're making the money off of the sweat of their backs, and
Right. Or they feel
it's
some weird like sense of like they owe billionaires for their own
yeah,
existence. Like if it wasn't
jobs.
right. Like we can't be
yeah,
mean to them, guys, because they give us our jobs and our money. No, come on,
no,
come on,
no,
get real.
they are exploiting you.
Yeah,
But okay, yeah.
exactly, exactly. Seth, you have
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
question?
Well, yeah, I wanted to talk about housing because as a millennial, this is something that is always on my mind heavy, and I know that it affects all of us because the average home buyer now is like 41 years old,
Mhm.
and it used to be 28 years old just 30 years ago, and everything has doubled, tripled, quadrupled. I'm sure out in Oregon, it's insane. I mean, I see some of these houses and the prices out there, and I mean, of course, everybody wants to live out on the West Coast. Why wouldn't you?
Mhm.
It's absolutely gorgeous, but with that comes, you know, being basically priced out of the market
Yep.
as a young person, as a young professional. So what would you like to do to try to make sure that the younger generations have a foothold in terms of being able to buy a house, and with that comes generational wealth and other things.
Well, I'd say with that, because that's also how the billionaires stay
Right.
relevant, is they don't get taxed on any of their, like second properties or something.
Mhm.
Along with what else is it? When they inherit things, they're not taxed on that either. Um,
Yeah, they
but
used to call it the death tax.
yes, the
Scare
Mm-hmm.
death
everybody
tax.
away. The death tax.
Yes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically the first thing to tackle, I think, would be vacation homes, Airbnbs. People are buying them up in order to create, to be a landlord, abolish landlords. And
Yeah.
uh, and it's just unattainable. And there's a lot of people that I know that are struggling. And I know a friend that's a realtor, which I'm fortunate enough to have bought a house last year. I wouldn't have been able to
Congratulations.
do it. Thank you. I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. I did it with my fiance.
Hmm.
He makes, he makes twice as much as me,
Yeah.
and I make bare minimum.
Hmm.
And it's,
Hmm.
and I, even then, I'm lucky to have a job while I'm doing this. They don't know that I'm doing this, but that's
Right.
okay. Um,
We won't tell.
um, but yeah, getting rid of those vacation homes in order to free up some of those homes, because
Yeah.
why? We already have hotels. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Just rent a room in your house or something. I don't know. You don't need to have a whole house in order to make extra money on the side. We have all these people out on the street that need help. More affordable housing, but like actually affordable housing, and not just say like, yeah, we're going to charge this much for it and you're going to get a shit apartment. It's actually affordable housing that is well built and ready to go for all of us humans that desperately need it.
Mhm.
Um,
And on top of that, we got to start building more homes. I
yeah,
mean, we're desperately short there as well. And Kamala was going to build 3 million homes that we desperately need, that our younger generation desperately needs. Because yeah, like if you don't have a significant other that's willing to throw in on a house with you, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able
it's
to do it on your own.
crazy unlikely that by like those houses I just had. Gosh, it was towards the beginning of my campaign that I had done a segment video, I suppose, about my incumbent, how she got in about when she was a state rep. She passed a bill, and the bill granted, I think, like $5 billion to create housing. And since then, that was back in 2022 or 23. Since then, homelessness has gone up by like 70%. So it's also trying to keep accountable where this money is actually going and
Right.
how it's being used,
Yes.
uh, seeing it through. And I think also that it's going to be, I know, crazily and impossible to pass, but like a public audit system for the federal government would be amazing. But even then, just for Oregon, would desperately need it.
Yep. And I think, that's another thing, state by state, we have to start sort of cleaning up our own communities in terms of, you know, we only have so much control over what the federal government does, unfortunately. They're their own machinery, in DC, but we have to get more involved at the community and at the local level and push for
Mhm.
accountability and transparency and things like this. It is an oversight, right? If you get a big chunk of money for a project and you're not seeing the project happen, start asking questions. Where'd that money
Yeah.
go? Because this is what we were supposed to get, and we're not seeing it. And I think
Mhm.
we have to get better as a society of becoming more involved, especially at the local level, because that's where real change happens that impacts our day-to-day lives.
Yeah. I think we have a sense of wanting community, but we don't know how to get it back. I think we
Agreed.
lost it after COVID.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
so we were fending for ourselves in a way. And
Hmm.
now we're all struggling.
Yeah.
And I think if we just get community back of caring for one another, they would finally folks would finally understand that we're better together than we are apart.
Yeah.
And
I
yeah.
agree. It's one of the reasons, one of the many reasons we love doing this is just getting to know people all across the country and kind of building this progressive community.
Mhm.
So before we get to how people can find you and support you, because your primary is imminent, right? It's 8 days away, I think you said, which is wild. Um, So before we get to that, and just politics aside, what's your favorite thing about living in Oregon?
That's also really hard.
Yeah.
I
You
moved
could
out
say
here.
multiple things.
Okay, I will. I moved out here and I thoroughly enjoyed, as much as I love the sun.
Mhm.
I am a desert rat a little bit because I grew up in the desert, but I just love the seasons.
Yeah.
I love the nature. Um, Once I got to know people here, I realized how nice everyone was, and
Hmm.
um, I got a lot of great friends being out here, and I got a dog, and then one that I technically adopted because my friend passed away and I inherited it. So now
Oh,
it was I don't know, it's really neat. It actually feels more like home than Southern California ever did.
wow. That's so nice. Well, you make it sound wonderful. I've always wanted to visit.
Oh my God,
M-
please
m-
come.
I know maybe now I'll have, a reason to once you win this election. So your primary is in 8 days.
May 19th.
May 19th, you have one opponent, basically.
Yeah, just the incumbent.
Crazy. And who is your incumbent and how long have they been serving in that role?
Uh, Maxine Dexter, and this is her first term.
Okay.
And
So,
decided randomly I wanted to run, and
wow.
then did research on her and found out she took some APAC money, and
Mhm.
APAC spent money supporting her and opposing her main opponent.
Wow.
And no one found out until after she won the primary because then they released all of the FEC details. And
Yep.
how
And that's the
funny.
other thing that people don't understand about these PACs is that they'll spend money on both sides of the aisle. They
Hmm.
don't favor anybody. They're just looking
No.
to curry favor and to say like, "Hey,
Influence.
you owe us
Yeah.
one. Remember
Yeah.
that? You owe us one." It's
Yeah.
not
Oh
about the
yeah.
issues for them. It's about
Right.
control.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
Exactly. It's scary.
It is
Yeah.
really scary.
Yeah.
And so it brings us, Seth, you get to ask the final question we always ask.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, as we always do, we break out the Bernie Chuck Schumer scale from the right side of the aisle of the Democrats to the far left with our guy Bernie. And we just want to always ask our people, do you take any corporate money, any super PAC money, any money from foreign entities as part of your campaign?
Never. And no, I don't.
Yeah.
That's
Great.
what we love. That's what we love. And
I made
obviously, progressive grassroots. Your campaign funded by you know regular voters.
regular, everyday working class people. And I print all my zines out at home or at the library because it's
Mhm.
free. Um, that's why it's black and white. Um, my
I love that.
posters, my
Mhm.
posters that I post up on the telephone poles and like tape on windows that are like abandoned buildings, library, all of it.
Yeah. So progressive candidate through and through, funded that way. No corporate PAC money, things like that. And I mean, you're your own campaign manager. You're printing out zines. I mean, look, folks, if you want a candidate that's gonna that can do a lot of things, you got
Resourceful.
a lot of plates spinning.
Resourceful.
Okay, I mean,
Hmm.
you need to take a look over here. So once again, just really glad you came on, and
Thank
just
you.
so much luck to you because I
Thank
mean
you.
you're one of the people that Oregon needs,
Yeah.
honestly.
So Jessica, quickly tell the audience your website address so they can find you. And are you on all the socials?
All the socials on my website is jsalfor Oregon.com, jsal for Oregon, just
Okay.
short for Jessica Salas. And my all my socials are jsal for Oregon,
Okay.
and just be on the lookout
Yeah,
on May 19th. I
for
sent my
sure.
headshots to New York Times and
Nice.
MSNBC and all those things. So you'll see my face, win or lose.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And obviously we're hoping that you win. I love your energy. You have a really calming
Yeah.
energy, which I am always like drawn to. And I think, and we need that. I mean, especially now, right? Everything feels
Mhm.
so chaotic. Everything feels so out of control. And to have someone that is so resourceful and truly grassroots, you could not be more grassroots, and calming and thoughtful. I think you're going to make a great Congress member.
Thank you. You could make me, I
Absolutely.
cry a lot, but you're
That's
going to make me cry.
okay. Me too. Me too. Jessica, thank you so much for coming on Left Out Loud. It's
Yes.
really been an honor, and we're going to keep our
Thank
eye on your
you.
race, and hopefully, we're going to be popping bottles and celebrating. And when you win, please come back and let us know how things are going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I win the primary, I,
When?
when I win the
Yes.
primary,
Hmm.
I essentially win the general because it's such a blue district that
Amazing.
it's always been blue for
Yeah.
years. So
Well,
that's scary.
we're gonna keep our eye on it. I can't wait to see your headshot, and I know it's going to be in the win column. I just won't even speak any negativity into existence when it comes to this situation. So come back to the show. You're a friend for life, and look forward to whatever happens with this election. I know that really good things are ahead of you. So thanks again for coming on.
Thanks. Thank you
And
so
thank you,
much.
Jessica.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Oh, Seth, that was Jessica Salas. What a treat that was. I
Yeah,
dug
yeah.
her energy. I mean, I just think she's so calm and centered, and there's just a wisdom to her that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. When you talk about the emotional people
Mm,
that are in office right now, somebody who is cool, calm, and collected like Jessica
yeah,
is like a breath of fresh air,
it really is.
and she has her priorities in order. I love all our candidates because they do, and
Hmm.
she was pointing out how even in a Democratic primary, her opponent or the incumbent is has been taking APAC money.
On the take.
And you really understand like just like how far they've got the claws in there in
Yeah.
our system. So we got to get them out. We got to get people like Jessica in there because
Mhm.
not only is she gonna hold down the democratic principles that we love, but she's not on the take.
Yeah.
There's nobody tapping her on the shoulder asking her for that favor back.
No.
So folks, make sure that you check her out, especially if you're in Oregon. But even if you're not from there, these folks can always use donations and phone baking, especially now that it's coming down to the wire for her and her primary. So
Yeah,
yeah,
her
time is
primary
money.
is what, next Tuesday, I think.
Yeah,
So, probably the best thing you can do for someone like Jessica that close to the primary, find her on social media and share her posts. Get the
yeah.
word out. That's really impactful. Um, But she's just fantastic. I really enjoyed talking to her. I love how grassroots she is. I mean, going to the library to print out the zines that
You know what
she's
I mean?
passing out.
You
And
know what
I
I mean?
like it's that kind of, ingenuity and creativity and resourcefulness that these establishment politicians, they're not, they just don't have it. They don't have that. They've never struggled. They don't have that sort of, she's spent so many years working in the service industry. She's just resourceful.
Yeah.
And I think that's missing from a lot of our politicians and in our politics.
Yeah, we're looking for real people. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't get realer than having to go print something at a library.
Right.
Been there, done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what I'm talking about. And she didn't print that in her giant Xerox machine on the sixth floor of some, palatial skyscraper.
Right.
She's a regular old person with great morals, and she goes to her local library to print stuff off. Those are the people we need in Washington.
Yeah.
Those are the people who understand the struggles of everyday people. She's in touch with that. So love Jessica, and all the love and support to her and luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Check her out. Find her, go to her website, go to her socials, spread the word. Week away is her primary. And I think she's the right girl for the job. So we've got interviews now, more tomorrow, another one the next day. We're going to stay on this. We're going to keep going. We're going to prioritize the release of these based on their primary schedules. So we make sure that we're getting these out ahead of the primaries for these incredible candidates. And we're going to be tired, but we're going to keep going. So
This is the
literally,
time.
yeah,
This is the
this is
time.
it.
Everything's coming down to the wire. I mean, folks,
Mhm.
we're stacking these interviews up for you guys to let you know that there are people around you that have the same kind of values as you do. So make sure you share the podcast. Make sure you share the clips online. I
Yeah,
mean, these are people who are really worthy of your vote.
absolutely. So I will literally see you tomorrow.
Literally. Let's do it. Let's do
All
it
right.
again.
Bye, Seth.
All right. Bye.